She called the cops and screamed, "Arrest him!" But I was standing in my own driveway, next to the truck I paid for with my blood and sweat. My little girl was crying inside the house, watching through the window, and I swear my chest was burning with anger. The woman, Karen, from down the street, waved a piece of paper in the air like it was the Constitution itself. "This is HOA property," she shouted. "Your car doesn't belong here. I've called security to tow it." But here's the truth. There is no HOA in our neighborhood. Never was. She made it up, wrote fake notices, and taped one to my door that morning. I kept my calm, though. I knew if I snapped, she'd win. A black SUV pulled up fast, lights flashing like it was official, and two men stepped out in cheap uniforms, no badges, no real authority. But they walked straight to my truck with a metal bar and smashed the window like it was theirs to destroy. Karen clapped her hands like she had just won a prize. My fists curled, my jaw locked, but I said nothing, because I already knew something they didn't. One of those so-called cops bent down to hotwire the ignition while Karen yelled, "Take it! Teach him a lesson!" My daughter screamed inside the house, and that sound almost broke me, but I held my ground, quiet, steady, watching every move. They thought I was powerless. They thought I'd beg. Instead, I reached for my phone, opened the hidden app linked to my body cam, and whispered to myself, "Now it's your turn."
Karen's smirk stretched wide when the fake cop revved my engine, glass still scattered across the driveway. "See, that's what happens when you don't follow the rules," she sneered, loud enough for the neighbors gathering on their porches to hear. She wanted an audience. She wanted me humiliated. One man whispered, "Doesn't this street not even have an HOA?" But Karen shot him a glare that made him step back. She was queen of the block, or so she believed. I walked closer, calm, steady. "You're trespassing, both of you," I said, staring at the fake officers. One of them laughed, showing a crooked tooth. "We're law enforcement, buddy. Back off or we'll arrest you for obstruction." He flashed a badge, shiny but plastic. My phone's camera zoomed right in. Every lie was being recorded. Karen folded her arms. "Arrest him already! His car doesn't even belong here. He's been lowering our property values since the day he moved in." My jaw tightened, but I didn't take the bait. Instead, I lifted my shirt just slightly, not enough for the crowd to see, but enough for the man hot-wiring my truck to freeze. His face went pale when he saw the old Marine Corps tattoo across my ribs. He hesitated, whispering to the other fake cop, "He's military." Karen snapped, "I don't care what he is. Do your job." But that pause was all I needed. I leaned in close enough for only them to hear. "You think you're stealing from a regular guy? You picked the wrong house. Every second of this is streaming live to the real police department." Karen's confidence flickered for the first time, her lips parting as if she suddenly realized maybe this wasn't going the way she planned. The crowd around us grew larger, whispers spreading like wildfire. And just then, the distant sound of real sirens began to echo down the street. The sirens grew louder, bouncing off the houses, and Karen's face twisted from triumph to panic. "Good," she shouted, trying to cover her fear. "Finally, the real police are here to deal with him." She pointed at me like I was already guilty, her voice sharp and shrill. The fake cop behind my wheel froze, hands shaking on the ignition. The other one muttered, "We need to get out of here," but it was too late. Two patrol cars screeched to a stop in front of my yard. Real officers stepped out, uniforms crisp, badges gleaming under the streetlights. The neighbors leaned in closer, phones up, recording everything. My daughter had opened the front door, clutching her stuffed bear, her cheeks streaked with tears. I gave her a small nod, silently telling her it would be all right. Karen bolted toward the officers. "Arrest him!" she screamed, fingers stabbing the air in my direction. "He attacked my community. He's violating HOA law, and these officers tried to stop him." She waved her fake notice like it was evidence from a courtroom. The real cop took one look at the paper, then raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, this doesn't even have a letterhead. It's handwritten." His voice was flat, unimpressed. Karen's face turned red, but she doubled down. "There with me!" she yelled, pointing to her so-called security. That's when I stepped forward, slow and steady. "Officer, my truck was vandalized on my own driveway. My daughter's been threatened, and these two men," I turned my phone screen toward them, showing the live footage, "broke in pretending to be law enforcement. The body cam feed was clear. Every word, every smash, every fake badge." The officers exchanged looks. One of them barked, "Step out of the vehicle, hands where I can see them." The fake cop in my truck swallowed hard, eyes darted to Karen, but she looked away like she didn't even know him. The crowd murmured louder, the tide of attention shifting. For the first time all night, Karen's voice cracked. He's lying. You can't trust him. He's dangerous." But no one was looking at me like a criminal anymore. All eyes were on her. The real officers pulled the fake cop out of my truck and slammed him against the hood. The sound of his head hitting the metal made the crowd gasp. The other one tried to back away, mumbling, "It was her idea, she paid us." But the officer spun him around, cuffs snapping tight on his wrists. Karen's eyes went wide and she shook her head violently. No, they're lying. I don't even know these men." But the neighbors weren't buying it. Mrs. Lopez from across the street shouted, "Karen, I saw you waving them in. Don't pretend now." Another man added, "Yeah, you've been putting fake HOA letters on all our doors." The murmurs grew into angry voices, the crowd pressing closer. Karen's kingdom was crumbling in front of her. One officer turned to me. "Sir, do you want to press charges for property damage?" I glanced at my shattered window, my little girl clutching her bear, then looked straight at Karen. She was trembling, still trying to look powerful, but her voice broke when she said, "You can't do this. I'm the HOA president." The officer cut her off coldly. "Ma'am, there is no HOA here. You forged documents and hired imposters to intimidate your neighbors. That's a felony." The words hit like a hammer. The crowd erupted, some recording, some just shouting, "Lock her up!" Karen tried one last move. She lunged at me, jabbing her finger in my chest. "You don't belong here! People like you ruin neighborhoods!" My daughter gasped, hiding behind me. My blood boiled, but I kept my voice calm, steady. "I fought overseas for this country. I bled for it. And you think you can tell me I don't belong in my own home?" The officer grabbed her arm and twisted it behind her back, cuffs clicking into place. Karen screamed, "You'll regret this! You'll all regret this!" But her voice cracked under the weight of her humiliation. Phones were out, cameras rolling. She wasn't the queen anymore. She was the spectacle. And as they dragged her toward the patrol car, the crowd cheered louder than I'd ever heard on this street.
Karen thrashed against the officer's grip as they shoved her into the back of the squad car. Her voice was hoarse now, but she still spat venom through the window. "You don't know who I am. I have connections. This whole neighborhood will pay for this." The words sent a strange chill over the crowd. A few people exchanged worried looks, whispering about what she might mean. The fake cops were already cuffed and silent, heads down like dogs caught stealing. But Karen, she wasn't done fighting. Even sitting behind bars in that car, she smirked at me like she still had an ace hidden somewhere. My daughter tugged my sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, she looks scary." I knelt down, kissed her forehead, and said softly, "She can't hurt us anymore." At least, that's what I wanted to believe. The officer who'd been calm all night walked over to me. "Sir, we'll take it from here. You'll need to come by the station tomorrow to give your full statement." He paused, lowering his voice. "But I'll warn you, this isn't the first time we've had trouble with her. She's been filing complaints, calling in fake emergencies, trying to run her neighbors off this block." That hit me like a punch. "So she's done this before?" I asked. He nodded. "And every time, she somehow skated free. But tonight," he tapped my phone, still recording, "tonight, you've got her nailed." Just then, another unmarked black SUV rolled slowly down the street, darker, heavier than the fake one. Its tinted windows lowered just a crack, and for a moment, I caught the glint of someone watching us. Then it sped off without a word. Karen saw it too, and her smirk deepened. like she knew something the rest of us didn't. "Did you see that?" one of the neighbors whispered nervously. The officer turned his head, but the SUV was gone into the night. Karen leaned her head back against the window and laughed, a dry, chilling laugh that made my skin crawl.